What's up, Nerd Crew? Nurdie J here, and today we are going to take a look at the top 10 GoBots from the 80s toy line, and a couple of honorable mentions to start off with. But the reason why I'm doing this is because I am under the weather, I'm not feeling well, and I feel like, why not do a little bit of talking? So, I know that's not the best of ideas, but at the same time, I gotta come up with something. So, without further ado, cue the intro. To start off this list, I am going to have an honorable mention, which would be a number 12 slot, Jeeper Creeper. I've always wanted this figure, as long as I can really recall, ever since getting into GoBots, that I love the Jeep mode. I love the unique robot mode head with the tire on his, on top, and, I just always would like to find him, but I can never find him for a good price and in good condition. The second honorable mention is Throttled, the Super GoBot. I've always really liked this one, especially in my later years in collecting. I don't know why. I just really like the robot mode, and the motorcycle mode isn't that bad either. I've seen pictures of a silver one, which I think is Machine Robo's edition, and I prefer that slightly better, but honestly, I've never had a pleasure of dealing with these Super GoBot, and so essentially this is why it's an honorable mention.
Number 10.
Now, to get into the nitty-gritty, this is going to be my top 10 finally, and so I am putting at number 10 Super GoBot Stacks. You could either have Stacks as a standalone figure or with a trailer attached to him. And honestly, I've just always liked this guy, and I always just had him for the longest time too, and so I just don't really see me not putting him on this list.
Number 9.
Flytrap is next up in line, and I always liked the idea of a Transformer turning into a garbage truck, or something unique like a bus or something that way, but for some reason Transformers don't really touch that, and I know we got one in Legacy Evolution, I want to say, with the Junkion, but I didn't really like how that looked, and so I also don't like that, he's a garbage truck and a Junkion. I feel like they were just pushing that junk garbage, like Retgar, that whole idea of Junkions and then you have a garbage truck. Didn't like the idea. But this guy has a unique transformation, and I just really like how he plays.
Number 8.
Spoons, the oddly named Forklift Renegade. I've always liked this guy, especially ever since I got a hold of him with a recent con that I went to before the convention went bye-bye in its entirety. That's a discussion for another time. But I do like that he is has a simplistic conversion, and that he's just fun to mess with. Even though mine has shown its age with its stiffening joints in the arms and loosening of the feet where they slide up and down to become the forklift, that mechanism, that slider has become loose. But other than that, I just really enjoy this figure.
Number 7.
Rescue was one of the very first GoBots that I got in my adulthood. Actually, I think he's one of the first GoBots I ever did get, that I can think of, minus Loco, but Loco is a different story for later. But I just really like this ambulance. I even made a paper model of him. I liked him so much, and he's just super fun to mess with.
Number 6.
Blaster is a really cool toy. His transformation is unique to him. And that essentially, I also like the idea that in 83 we had Blaster, and then in 85 we had the Transformers named Blaster. So, kind of find that fun because, in the middle of conversation, you'd be like, well, what Blaster are you talking about for a second there? I do like that he's a muscle truck and that he's just super fun.
Number 5.
Pumper is a unique one. Very simplistic in its design and conversion scheme. But I don't know why. I just really like this one. I did initially have him, but his pegs on his, what's it called? His ladder unit fell off, and I couldn't replace them. And then all of a sudden, my pumper just fell apart. And I don't know why. I think it's just degradation, and it was the previous owner didn't take good care of it. So currently I'm without a pumper, but I have messed with it. That's why it's also on the list instead of an honorable mention. But yeah, I just really enjoy myself a little bit of a rescue vehicle from time to time.
Number 4.
Spacey. Not just any Spacey, super Spacey. Oh man, this is a super fun toy that has a really unique and fun transformation scheme. And it doesn't look like the original GoBot, which had a cone head, much like Dirge and Ramjet from the Transformers. She is really awesome. And I just really like how the head homages like a kind of like a spacesuit kind of feel. Very chunky, very robust, but super fun to play with.
Number 3.
This spot was kind of hard to figure out which one I wanted to put in the slot, because do I want to put in the original small vamp, or do I want to go with the super vamp? The small vamp is cool and all, but he does have pronage to breakage. And so I ultimately got rid of mine. And then I got this super vamp, and I think it's so much better, honestly. I've always liked the character of Vamp. I've always liked the design of him. The arm hand things going on the outside don't make any sense to me, but he is an alien, and so essentially I think he's even alien to the GoBots themselves, so I don't think he's technically a GoBot. He's kind of like Wreck-Gar for the Transformers, where he's not an Autobot. He's aligned with the Autobots, but he's from a different planet. So, essentially, yeah, I think Super Vamp is just a better version of Vamp.
Number 2.
Bugbite is my favorite of all the Super GoBots. He's always been one of my favorites since childhood, and I just really love this guy. I even prefer him over Bumblebee, honestly, from the Transformers. And, yeah, he turns into a Volkswagen. He's evil. I don't really know much about the character. I have to do the research before I do a review on him. But essentially, yeah, I just find him super fun, super interesting, and that I just don't know what to say except for he's really fun.
Number 1.
As mentioned earlier, number 1 is Loco. Loco was my very, very first GoBot I've ever had. I think it was my very first transforming toy as a little kid. I think it was like a baby and I had him, and you know what? Simplistic wins in this one. It's a simple conversion, but it's super effective, and he turns into like this almost micro machine vehicle, and then he's like a larger robot. I just really like how that happens. And yeah, it's just, I love train transforming toys, and I just also think it's insane that he, well, is an insane character, and he even wears his detention number on his chest. Like, it's a badge of honor. I know technically it is the number of the train, but I like to think of it as like detention cell block whatever type thing, and it's just emblazoned on his chest because he's that nuts. Well, I hope you enjoyed this little rundown of my favorite GoBots from the 80s toy line. I've been Nurdie J for Nurdie Boyz, and I'll catch you next time.